Tonight, the alleged 2 million cedi payouts to musician Shatawale by the state-owned Exim Bank that left Parliament's Public Accounts Committee sitting today divided.
These are public funds, and in spending public funds, there has to be accountability to the good people of Ghana.
You'll be surprised how brand ambassadors can be good in promoting a particular sector.
We're learning tonight that there have been additional huge payouts to some members of the creative arts industry as well, all debated today on the Public Accounts Committee sitting. Plus tonight, Transport Minister discloses details of government's consultations on whether or not to legalize Okada, as he insists government is not threatened by NDC flag bearer John Mahama's promise to legalize commercial motorbike business.
Let me tell you, we are not fighting by anything. We are supposed to govern this country to the best of our ability. What will be in the interest of this country? Let us not compare some of these issues. But today, the position of Okada is in what is stated in 21.
He has also been answering questions about his sector at today's Public Accounts Committee sitting.
So, what is the director of Tetaport? Mr. Chairman, he is there. Is he in the hall here now? He is not in the hall here. Is he in your office? Mr. Chairman, he will take between my office, GPOJ and Qatar. So we can best describe him as the desk officer for Catapult. Do you have a board in place for Catapult? One at a time.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is brought to you by Gasem Cement, the Nation Building. Vodafone, the future is exciting, ready. Today on the Public Accounts Committee, it is emerged that the state-owned Exim Bank may have paid musician Shatawale up to 2 million Ghana cedis to work as a brand ambassador. That has been a subject of some controversy before the committee today. In the last few minutes, we are beginning to learn that additional checks have also emerged that is currently being scrutinized by the committee that also suggests that additional members of the creative art industry in the acting business have also been paid huge sums of money. In one case, up to 250,000 cedis. The disclosure was first made by a member of the Public Accounts Committee, Ras Mubarak. He says a musician, that Shatawale, does not deserve that amount. At today's sitting of the committee, Mr. Mubarak claimed the check has been issued to the musician to that effect, but Deputy CEO of the bank, Kwame Dakwa, said he is unaware of such payment. He says the bank has only engaged a communications consulting firm to brand it, and it is a firm that is dealing directly with the ambassadors.
It's an promoting made in Ghana. You know, you have very good artists, Nanam Pedu, Kojo Entry, Nakorex, you name them. In this instance, you gave money to Shatawale.
Honorable Chairman, no, not at all. As far as I'm concerned, it is a media campaign that we're running with a consultant. Thank you.
So the consultant hasn't given, or your institution, Ghana Exim, hasn't issued a check of 2 million Ghana cedis to Shatawale.
Wait, Isaac. Honorable Chairman, I can confirm that as Deputy CEO Finance of Exim Bank, I have not signed or have not seen a check signed for $2 million or 2 million cedis to any artist that you might have mentioned.
So if it is confirmed that you signed a check of 2 million for an artist by Exim Bank, either signed by you or from your outfit, will you believe that that check is really coming from your outfit?
Honorable Chairman, if there's a check that's shown to me from Exim Bank, certainly I'll believe it. But what I can say is that as Deputy CEO of Finance, I have not seen or signed a check for that amount.
We'll work on that, and then we'll call you again to appear.
Thank you.
We will have the details. Okay.
Well, the Export and Import Bank is a non-commercial bank set up in 2016 by the government to provide loans to business people to support an export-led economy. The deputy CEO insists engaging brand ambassadors play a key role in helping its image.
The music component that you're talking about is also a little bit like the football aspect that you're talking about. You'll be surprised how brand ambassadors can be good in promoting a particular sector. Sometimes what needs to be done is that if we've done incredible work, and if you've done incredible work, it will be good for people to know what is being done. It will be good for people to know what their options are. And having a good brand ambassador to sell that story makes sense. So if the brand ambassador is an actor, so be it. If the brand ambassador is the Ghana Black Stars, so be it. If the brand ambassador is a singer of influence, that's good. That's good business. Now, what I would say to that also is that we didn't use a foreign. I haven't.
Well, fascinating stuff from the Public Accounts Committee today. And there's more from the Accounts Committee sitting today. I want to bring in my colleague, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, who's been covering this for us today. Joseph, so just there we heard the Deputy CEO make a justification why this consulting firm they've hired may be engaging Shatawale and others, although he says he's not personally cited the check. What more are we learning?
Exactly so. So the confusion then was, according to the Kumbungu MP, Ras Mubarak, who first raised the issue at the committee, he has evidence of a check signed in the name of Exim Bank and not exactly in the name of any possible consultant who may have led whatever negotiations may have led to the said payment. But the Deputy CEO is insisting that as far as he is concerned, he admitted that there's been the issuing of checks that end up getting signed by his head of finance and not himself. But he says it would eventually come to him. So he would definitely know if any such specific payment may have gone to Shatawale or any other individuals as far as the creative sector is concerned. And he's been insisting that that has not been the case. And if anything at all, in terms of engagement when it comes to brand ambassadors and people who are in the sports industry or people who are in the music or film industry to do things as far as Exim Bank is concerned, well, then that may have gone through the third communication consultancy firm that's actually been working with them to help brand their image. But MPs have actually been raising questions about the kind of branding that they would want to do at the level of Exim Bank, because they make the point that this is not an organization that's exactly so much of a commercial bank, maybe operating in a space that will require them having to do adverts and in order to gain customers or no. They have a specific task, very much funded by government and other development agencies, and their task is mainly to support businesses expand so that then they can create jobs. So they appear, as far as some MPs are concerned, to have a niche market that they can target rather than engaging in activities, including engaging brand ambassadors in order to get their messages sold and all.
I'm curious. This is a Public Accounts Committee sitting. What they do is to sit over and on the Auditor General's report. So how did this matter emerge? Was it part of the agenda for today's sitting?
No. So the committee is examining the Auditor General's report from 2017, and so that's what they are looking at. There is usually a backlog which they deal with after several years. Now, usually when they appear before the committee, the various institutions first of all respond to questions having to do with what has been captured in the Auditor General's report. And this particular issue having to do with alleged payments to musicians was actually not captured in the Auditor General's report. Now, when it's getting to the tail end of the sitting and the committee is done examining specifics on the Auditor General's report, then the chairman then gives room for what they call public interest questions, so that then the members of the committee who have previously raised the issues with the chairman and gotten the necessary clearance will then be allowed to throw in the specifics as far as those public interest questions are concerned, which are not exactly captured in the Auditor General's report, and then those who are appearing before them will actually respond to some of those questions. And so that's how come eventually, as a final resolution on this particular issue, the chairman then directed that he would want to probably see the said evidence that Mr. Mubarak says he has, including what he says are checks that have actually been issued by the Exim Bank. And then subsequently, the officials from Exim Bank will be invited back so they can be interrogated on that issue specifically, because it wasn't specifically part of the issues that the Auditor General had raised, which they are prepared for before appearing before the committee today.
Joseph will return when we deal with the Transport Minister. He was also before the committee, so Jeff, you stay with us whilst we examine that. But I want to bring in now Ras Mubarak, who is the Member of Parliament who raised this particular issue at the Public Accounts Committee sitting today. Mr. Mubarak, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Thank you very much indeed, Evans.
So tell me, first of all, how did this come up? Gaku explained that it wasn't on the agenda for today, but somehow you managed to sneak this in.
As Joseph might have explained to listeners, the committee permits what we call public interest questions, or issues that may have come up either in the public domain or members who may have some evidence of some wrongdoing from various sources, to ask of ministers and heads of institutions who are appearing before the Public Accounts Committee. And in this case, I had picked up some information in relation to how the Ghana Exim Bank has, dished out public funds to individuals, to politically exposed persons, to artists, for one thing or the other. And as you may have heard in the narration from the Deputy CEO of the Ghana Exim Bank, one, he admits that indeed monies have been paid to some artists.
Although he says he's personally not cited the check to Shatawale in question.
He admits that monies have been paid to artists. What is mind-blowing is the fact that, monies amounting to 2 million Ghana cedis have been paid to one particular artist at a time when we are all grappling with the effects of COVID-19 on the economy, on every facet of our lives. And you ask yourself whether that is a judicious way of spending public funds. I am incensed, by these expenditure. In another instance, they've paid monies to the actor Ejako. And
in the Ejako case, in the Ejako case, we can confirm. I understand that he may have received as much as 250,000 cedis.
And for me, as Member of Parliament representing the people of Kumbung, and as a Ghanaian, my interest was the criteria. I have nothing personal against these artists, but what was the criteria in giving out these monies? So to have a CEO admit, and indeed don't forget Evans, they were under oath, and I reminded the CEO that he was on the cusp of committing perjury, and with what I have seen, if it is presented before the chairperson of the committee, the Honorable Aveji, and he decides to invite them back, we may, amongst other things, be dealing with an issue of perjury, which would have been committed by the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Exim. So it is mind-blowing to dish out these monies at this time. And fundamentally, even, you don't tell the Ghanaian public that you have outsourced some work to a vendor, and then you don't take interest in knowing who the vendor awarded the work to. Because obviously, if some work was outsourced to any vendor whose work is sought, there would be a report back to the person paid for it. That, okay, you've given us a task. This is a report on what we have done thus far. And indeed, I'm sure Ghana Exim has some evidence of the work that the so-called vendor.
The checks that you have, Is the checks issued in the name of the Ghana Exim Bank?
Because it's an issue that would be coming back to the Public Accounts Committee, I would want to tender it in at the committee at parliamentary level so that it be looked at and discussed. But I can tell you for a fact that huge amounts of monies have been given to artists, including politically exposed persons.
When were these monies paid out? What's the timeline?
This year.
This year?
Yes.
Well, we've listened to the CEO. Yes, he says in the first instance that he hasn't personally seen these checks, but he gave this justification for why they would engage these musicians and people within the creative arts generally. This is what he said.
The music component that you're talking about is also a little bit like the football aspect that you're talking about. You'll be surprised how brand ambassadors can be good in promoting a particular sector. Sometimes what needs to be done is that if we've done incredible work, and if you've done incredible work, it will be good for people to know what is being done. It will be good for people to know what their options are. And having a good brand ambassador to sell that story makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, Mr. Mubarak, hasn't he got a point there? I mean, this is the state-owned Exim Bank. Since it's been established, really, I haven't heard the company do anything that sort of attracts attention, brands it in a way that makes it attractive. That's the argument there. Don't you need a Shatawale, a Jacko to help sell this brand?
Evans, and since they paid or dished out, rather, these huge amounts of money, have you heard anything out there, as far as the work of Ghana Exim Bank is concerned? If multimedia, decides to engage brand ambassadors and pay them, huge amount of money, it's within their purview to do that. But insofar as public funds are used, you would want to find out how they came into that conclusion in choosing one artist over the other. But
isn't that explanation? I mean, Shatawale is the biggest thing you can find. If you want to promote a brand, he's the ultimate right now.
I'm a Shatawale fan. He's somebody I've known on a very personal.
But you're not an Ejako fan?
I'm saying I'm a Shatawale fan. But it's got nothing to do with Shatawale being an exciting artist or not. We're talking about public funds. We're talking about public funds given out at a time when the nation is told to tighten its belt. At a time when public institutions can't get releases to execute, critical components of their work. We're talking about dishing out monies in a COVID-19 era. When everybody else is encouraged to contribute their quota of expertise or knowledge or whatever. I do understand, having worked with artists over the years, that, an artist's talent have to be
appropriately rewarded.
Appropriately rewarded. And rightly so. But when it comes to public funds, first of all, what was the process in arriving at choosing one artist over the other? Okay? These are public funds. And you ask yourself whether in this critical moment, when government can't get revenue, is this the best way that Ghana Exim Bank can spend the people's money? Yeah,
Mr. Mubarak, I want you to hold the line for me. I want to bring in Kennedy Kankam. He's a member of the PAC as well, from the majority side. Mr. Kankam, thank you for your time here on Top Story.
Hello.
Yes, I'm grateful that you could join me. You were in the committee meeting today when this matter of the payouts to the Shatawale and others in the creative arts industry came up. What's your reaction to it? We had the deputy CEO say he's personally not seen the checks, but he then justifies it, saying that it is something that the Exim Bank needed. You agree?
Well, first of all, let me say a good evening to your cherished listeners. Evans, from what you are saying, in fact, I'm having the report of the Auditor General for the Public Board for 2017, and also have the answers that was given to the questions that was raised in the Auditor General's report. And I can tell you, without fear of favor, from page 1 up to the last page, that is page 352, there is nothing like Chatawale or any artist that has been given to them.
So how is it possible then that it was entertained at the official Public Accounts Committee hearing to the extent that the Deputy CEO of the Exim Bank had to appear to answer questions on this?
Actually, the Deputy CEO of Exim Bank did not come to Public Accounts because of this issue. He came to answer some questions that appeared in the Auditor General's report for 2015, 2016, and 2017. So the issue on board wasn't an issue about Chatawale or anyone in the creative industry.
However, it still came up.
Let me make this point. It is allowed sometimes when we are in a public setting. It is allowed that members can ask public interest questions. So this question was asked by my colleague Honorable Mubarak, and he told us that he has a copy of the check. I personally dare him to bring out the check, and he couldn't produce the check at that time. So I'm surprised that he's on air today talking about it, because for me, I haven't seen any check. Chatawale issue has not been brought to the Public Accounts Committee, and it is not part of the report that was under discussion today.
Yeah, but my question is, I mean, you are on the committee. If that is the case, and there was no evidence, how come it was first entertained? Secondly, I heard the chairman now say that on the back of the allegations that have been put out, the Exim Bank should be ready to come again once the documents have been provided to answer more questions.
Well, I think before even a member will start speaking to a certain issue, the member is supposed to tender in some documents for all members of the Public Accounts Committee to have it and peruse it. And if we want to speak to it, we can speak to it. Fine. The chairman granted the public interest question to my colleague, Honorable Mubarak. And in the process of doing that, or in the process of cross-examining the Deputy Managing Director of Exim Bank, the Deputy Director came out clearly that he has never come across any check, or he has never come across any voucher, he has never come across any document that is giving instruction for Chatawale or anybody in the creative industry to be paid such an amount.
But I'm sure you also heard him.
The honors lies on the person who is accusing the Exim Bank to prove to us.
What about the Deputy CEO's justification of why they had engaged a communications firm to engage people in the creative arts industry? He says it makes sense. Those are his words.
Yes, first of all, we need to look at the duties and the responsibilities of the Exim Bank, or the core mandate of Exim Bank. If you look at the core mandate of the Exim Bank, it is to promote made in Ghana goods, or anything that is made in Ghana. You and I were here when the main music style of Ghana was high life. Reggie Roston came up with hip life, which is a blend of high life and the style from the American origin. And now we have the Akasa coming out with a different thing. So if a musician or somebody from the creative industry in Ghana here is doing something that can earn a foreign exchange or earn some amount, I think it's justifiable. If you go to the world music industry now, Chatawale has a collaboration with, I think, Beyonce, or one of the top musicians in the U.S. Now, Chatawale is earning some fame for Ghana and also, in return, getting some money for Ghana. So if you can project Chatawale or any other musician for him to get a small foreign exchange, I don't think there is anything wrong with that. At the end of the day, the bank is looking for money. And if Shatawale will be a vessel to get money for the country or for the bank to be very successful, why not?
So, like the direct question to you is, so you say you're okay if Exim Bank spends 2 million cedis on Shatawale, 250,000 cedis on Ejako and others to promote its brand and attract people to sort of pay attention to locally produced goods.
No, but have you looked at the other side of the balance sheet or the income statement? When they invest maybe 2 million Ghana cedis in Shatawale, have you looked at the returns Shatawale will bring? Until we know the returns of it, we cannot condemn it. At the end of the day, we should look at the whole state of financial position of Exim Bank. How much are they earning after issuing that amount of money or after giving that amount of money to Shatawale or whichever person who belongs to the creative industry? Until we get the returns of it, or we look at the other side of the state of financial position, I think it will be too early for us to condemn it.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Mubarak. So the question now remains, you claim you have checks to support this. When are you providing the evidence? Because I heard the chairman say to you, provide the evidence that will form a basis possibly of getting the Exim Bank back to answer more questions. When are we seeing the evidence provided for the committee to scrutinize?
Hopefully tomorrow, because Ghana Exim was scheduled originally to appear sometime last week, right? And I think they had requested that they would be appearing today, which the chairman granted. But that notice was not, made known to members of the committee. So I wasn't even aware that they were appearing today until I had returned to the committee room from lunch. But Evans, let me say that, Shatawale's talent is in no doubt. There's no question the fact that he's one of the topmost. He's an exciting artist and the rest of it. And that he's got to be compensated appropriately for his talent. The fundamental question I have raised, and indeed raised on the floor during the discussion, which the Deputy CEO unfortunately couldn't provide reasons for, was the basis, criteria. We have several artists in the country.
Yeah, I mean, you've asked that question even on the show. You've asked that question a few times now. I mean, just because of time, Mr. Mubarak, we wait to see the evidence before the House and interrogate it a bit more once it comes. But I'm grateful that you could join us on this very controversial subject. Ras Mubarak, Kumbungu MP, member of the Public Accounts Committee. Also, he had his colleague also on that same committee speaking to us about the concerns raised today and allegations of checks being paid out to Shatawale and others. Kennedy can come. You heard that. What do you make of this? Send me a WhatsApp 0244340437. Isn't it amazing when your network cares about you so much so that they do amazing things for you? You guessed it. I'm talking about the Vodafone Cash dropping all charges when you send money to all networks. Yes, you heard it right. It costs nothing. Absolutely nothing when you send money via Vodafone Cash to all networks. Just send any amount as many times as you want to any network and pay zero charges on the money sent. Go ahead, make payments, show your love, make contributions, send money to all you want via Vodafone Cash to all networks for free. Just dial *110# to send cash for free. Are you ready?
Hey, Charlie. My network is really killing me. I have to pay my uncle's workers mobile money, but the charges alone, it's about 380. Hey, charges alone just to send money? That's $10 of cement already, my guy. Listen, bro, you can save money on charges if you move to Vodafone Cash now. Vodafone Cash? But my network is... Hey, sending money on your network, you pay. Sending money on your network to other networks, you pay. But guess what? Sending money on Vodafone Cash is free. Sending money on Vodafone Cash to all other networks is also absolutely free. No charges at all on Vodafone Cash. So tell me, what are you still doing on your network? Massa, look sharp, then move to Vodafone Cash. Hey, make a unlocking the SIM right now.
Yes, sending money on Vodafone Cash to all other networks is now absolutely free. Send unlimited amounts of money as many times as you like for free. Just dial *110# now to send